Welcome back, guys, and I've been working on this one for quite some time, and I've not covered enough of Metal Gear Solid on the channel. Now, I have streamed it in the past, bear in mind, but I've not done a specific video on a full edit, so today we had to do it. And the point of this video today is to compare the OG version of Metal Gear Solid versus the Twin Snakes version. Now, before I start, there is apparently murmurs of a remaster or a remake of the original game. Again, big rumors, but like, you know, what were Konami thinking with getting rid of Kojima in the first place and starting some mobile game bullshit? Anyway, who knows what's the future of the Metal Gear franchise considering Kojima is gone, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. Let's talk about Metal Gear Solid and the two versions. So again, the PS1 version and the GameCube version. And what I'm doing here is a direct comparison of the intro segments. And I'll tell you what, if anyone's been following Kojima's career all his life, through his gaming life, whatever, he can be quite self-indulgent, you know, in my opinion. The PS1 game was a cinematic masterpiece, and the fact is the GameCube came along and he got an opportunity to remaster the game, and in some segments in the GameCube version he does kind of, you know, self-indulge a little bit too much with the cutscenes. But when I look at them side by side, and I played through both of them to try and get some good footage for this video, a lot of it is kind of like for like, except some of the cutscenes, as I said, are extended. And he has this real emphasis on the Twin Snakes version having this brother v brother scenario, and he kind of heightens that from the very beginning in the entrance cutscene, whereas in the original game Liquid Snake was a little bit more secretive in the first maybe 2 or 3 hours. Whereas I think the presumption here is that everybody has played the original game, so Kojima just wanted to do a little twist on it, and I can see what he was trying to do. Again, the emphasis on having Liquid versus Solid Snake, and he was able to kind of exaggerate that somewhat, even in the entrance sequences. So now we've got an Irish singer, Aoife Ní Farah, singing The Best Is Yet to Come, and interestingly enough, it's used in 2 different places in the game. In the Twin Snakes version, it's actually used in the very introductory scene, and in the original Metal Gear Solid, it's actually during the swimming sequence as he has deployed from the submarine and is pretty much about to start his mission. So I just found that interesting, the placing of that song and why it was played in such a different place in this. I don't know what Kojima's thought process was there. Another interesting thing here is he does keep the scenes kind of coherent between the OG and the original, but when it comes to the voice acting, he actually got the voice acting redone by the same actors. Listen up.
Stay alert. He'll be through here. I know it. I'm going to swat down a couple of bothersome flies. Stay alert. He'll be through here. I know it. I'm going to swat down a couple of bothersome flies.
So even from listening to Liquid Snake there is some subtle differences in his delivery. Again, it seems a little bit more exaggerated in the Twin Snakes as it was in the original version. So next up, I'm going to take a direct comparison between the codec scenes. Listen up and see if you can actually spot the difference between the voice acting.
This is Snake. Colonel, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. What's the situation, Snake?
Looks like the elevator in the back is the only way up.
Just as I expected. You'll have to take the elevator to the surface, but make sure nobody sees you. If you need to, contact me by codec. The frequency is 140.85. When you want to use the codec, push the pause button and then the A button. When we need to contact you, the codec will beep. When you hear that noise, press the pause button and then the A button to receive the call. The codec's receiver directly stimulates the small bones of your ear. No one but you will be able to hear it.
Got it. Okay, I'm ready to go. This is Snake. Colonel, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. What's the situation, Snake?
Looks like the elevator in the back is the only way up.
Just as I expected. You'll have to take the elevator to the surface, but make sure nobody sees you. If you need to, contact me by codec. The frequency is 140.85. When you want to use the codec, push the select button. When we need to contact you, the codec will beep. When you hear that noise, press the select button. The codec's receiver directly stimulates the small bones of your ear. No one but you will be able to hear it.
Got it. Okay, I'm ready to go.
Now let's just talk about the music, the graphics, and I suppose the general gameplay of the original Metal Gear Solid. Now, you know, going back to Metal Gear Solid, it can be a little bit of a rough ride for the first couple of minutes, trying to get used to controls again. Bear in mind, this was created with the D-pad in mind originally. Suppose what I found trickiest to get back and get used to was the fact is you can only technically run and crawl. You can't actually walk. So going up behind enemies and chokeholding them, you have to be really, really quick. And you have to press the button really, really quick. And if you don't, the alarm will be alerted and the guard will be alerted. And so in that case there, you can see right there, I just timed it right. You got to be really, really quick to get the bad guy. And you can obviously grab him then and snap his neck. It does have the whole tap the wall feature, which I really like. And it's actually in both games. So you can kind of create a distraction and the enemy will walk around and he'll follow the noise. So always good to kind of lead them towards you. And now you can see their cone vision there that he's picking me up in red. He can pick up the noise. And I'm actually trying to find a scenario where I actually can get around him. You see, if I walk across the water in that instance there, it'll create a noise also. So again, very, very cool gameplay mechanics that probably weren't present at the time this game came out. So these were very, very unique mechanics to have at the time. So what I gotta say as well is graphically the game holds up quite well. Now I did actually record this originally on my OG hardware, but it looked more so the display aspect itself wasn't coming up very clean. So instead what I did was I emulated it, but I kept it as close as possible to just some basic filtering that you would get if you stuck in MGS into the PS2 for argument's sake. And in that case, it kind of gave as clean as image as it could possibly be without exaggerating it. I've kept the aspect ratio here as well to the natural 4:3 in this case, and haven't stretched it. So this is as good as it's going to look without, I suppose, distorting it completely with any emulation graphics or features like that. So moving on to the GameCube version, graphically, really did a great job enhancing the atmosphere and obviously the power of the GameCube. I found the GameCube probably one of the most underrated consoles at the time, and it's one of my favorite consoles ever, and it's such a powerful little box, and Kojima obviously used that power to his advantage. The game looks stunning still, even now, although the music is quite subtle. It's a little bit more subtle in the entrance sequence than it was in the original game. It's got that added layer of the gameplay components that are inherited from Metal Gear Solid 2, and I actually quite like that. It's got a first-person mode for using your weapons. You can pick up enemies, you can drag them. There's also the feature where you can actually go behind them and get the dog tags, very much so like MGS2. So again, adding a layer of complexity to the gameplay beyond the original game. What I did find was the radar actually is much slower, so it's actually much slower to lose an alert. Again, it seems to have inherited that alert scenario from Metal Gear Solid 2 as opposed to using the original design, where I found was once you create an alert, it does go quite quickly once you go and hide. So maybe if I was to compare one to the other, I actually kind of prefer the original game from that point of view. Sometimes you can be in a scenario where it's like, oh, I gotta wait for this to fade away so I can go back to non-alert mode, and you kind of gotta sit there and hide and find a hiding spot.
A few minutes later.
It can be a bit of a slight annoyance in relation to the game's pacing, but look, only a minor niggle if I was again to compare one to the other. So folks, for our final segment, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some cutscene comparisons, some direct comparisons, and some side-by-sides.
Behind D. Colonel, what's a Russian gunship doing here?
I have no idea, but it looks like our little diversion got their attention.
So just to cut into this little segment again, the overemphasis on looking at Liquid Snake directly, Solid Snake pretty much zooming in on them, and that's actually quite different to the original cutscene in the OG MGS. So I'll just cut over to that now and you can see. So again, it's to really reiterate this whole twin snakes, brother v brother scenario that Kojima really was putting an emphasis on the remaster itself.
If you want to get in, there is the front door. It's the fastest way, but there's too much risk of being spotted by the enemy.
So again, just to cut in here and specifically on the voice acting, I actually took quite some time to overlay that audio. There is subtle differences, but in some cases they've pretty much repeated the dialogue directly. But again, as I said, the actors came in and redid most of the voice acting, and some of the voice acting actually has completely new lines. But it's just interesting to see where I was playing around and tried to compare certain cutscenes to see if I could actually align the audio and how it would sound. So guys, that's really pretty much it for today's video. You would be surprised the volume of work that went into this video today, trying to work out all the comparisons, align the audio, align the graphics, align the visuals, record all the footage from both systems, and try to keep it as close as possible I could from, I suppose, both the gameplay perspective, and then to hopefully show all the differences in a condensed format in this video today. Guys, if you like what you've seen today and you want to see more of this, please let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to support my channel if you did enjoy it. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, it really helps my channel. And guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.